Welcome back to Fourth Trimester Voices. Today on the show, we are joined by a physician who understands that the postpartum period is not just about a baby's growth chart. It's about a mother's healing, her confidence, and the village that she builds around her. Dr. Shefali Chheda is a medical director and owner of Harmony Pediatrics in Alpharetta, Georgia. She's a board certified pediatrician, a mom herself, and a trusted partner to families navigating the early days of parenthood. What sets Dr. Chheda apart is her deep commitment to holistic, relationship based care. She has seen her patients grow from birth to graduation and even attended their weddings. Her approach blends conventional and integrative medicine, ensuring that children and their parents receive the care that supports their body, their mind, and their spirit. Today, we're going to talk about how the right pediatrician can transform your postpartum experience, what you need to know about making informed decisions, and why building trust from the beginning matters so much. Let's welcome Dr. Cheetah to the show. Hello.
Thank you so much, Dr. Choa. Wonderful.
Yes.
I'm so excited to be here and talk about the fourth trimester period.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. I just love bringing guests on here, particularly guests who really know what it means to provide holistic care and what it means to build a village. And so I love what you're doing with your practice. And I just thought it would be wonderful to have you on here to just talk about yourself, what you do, and answer some of the questions that a lot of our members have when it comes to their care.
Sure. So I've been practicing pediatrics for over 25 years, and all I do is give advice. That's all any pediatrician, all any physician does is give advice. Now, that advice is based on my education, my experience, and on evidence. And
Mm.
then it's up to the patient or the parent to take that advice. Now, if you like me, if you trust me, you're more likely to take that advice. And if you don't, you're not going to take that advice. So, the most important thing in finding a pediatrician, first and foremost, is finding somebody that you like, somebody that you trust, because this is a 21-year relationship. It's almost like a long-term marriage. You have to like the doctor, trust the doctor, and then be able to have the time to ask the questions that you need answered.
Absolutely. And I can't agree more with that. I think my initial journey into motherhood, I started off with one pediatrician and ended up changing mostly because of distance and the relationship that I had with the second one. There was nothing necessarily wrong with the first one. We just didn't connect as much as that second pediatrician. And the second one, I look forward to our visits. Tondo, my daughter, is now 6 years old, and we have that relationship. And I really truly feel that at the end of the day, she sits down, she listens to my concerns, she deeply cares for me and my daughter. And so that's why that works. And so, super important for moms to be able to understand like this relationship is very, very important.
Right. And it's not only with the mom, but it's with the child as well, too, because as the child grows up, they need to be involved with their care. So they need to be able to like the pediatrician, and the pediatrician needs to be able to connect with them at different ages. As an infant, making sure that the baby is smiling and happy. And yeah, the toddlers don't like anybody. So they're going to scream no matter who they see. But by the time they're an adolescent, the pediatrician might be seeing them alone for certain visits, and the adolescent wants to be heard, but also needs to know that the pediatrician is on their side.
Mhm.
And they need that trusted relationship so that going forward, they know what a good patient physician relationship looks like when they're an adult and
Mm,
not just be not heard. They need to be involved in their health care as well, too.
absolutely. Absolutely. I want you to tell us a little bit about your own birth story. I know you're a mom, and I
Right.
definitely know that you've had your own postpartum experiences and challenges. Tell us a little bit about what that season was like for you.
So I have two boys, and they are both happily grown adults in college. But those first few years were very, very tough. My first one, actually, when he was 10 days old, I had to perform CPR on him. That
Mm,
is not something anybody ever wants to do on their child, but a happy story. He is like I said, now in college. But there was a lot to deal with, not only as a new mom, but also as a physician. You don't want to use those skills on your own child at any point.
Wow.
But it helped because I had a lot of family around. I had my mother, I had my mother-in-law, I had lots of friends. And that really helped me emotionally through that period. And you really need that village. You need people around you to support you. All the stories, all the movies make it seem like that this is an idyllic period. You're going to have 3 months time off and you're going to be able to do scrapbooking. And no, 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 that is a complete myth.
Mm.
It is so tiring, so exhausting. You have a lot of healing that you need to get done as well too. So you want to take advantage of everybody around you. What I tell my moms is that you need all the people around you, the friends, the family to support you, to support your healing, to be able to hold your baby so that you can go to the bathroom. You also need the professionals, whether it's the physicians, the doulas, the PTs, the OBs. You need everybody around you that you can trust that's going to give you the advice that you need for yourself, for your body, and for your baby. There are so many people out there. The plumber's going to tell you that formula is better than breast milk. There's some people that you just don't need to listen to.
Mm.
But first off, listen to your gut. If you think something is wrong, maybe something is, and ask all the questions and make sure you've got people around you that you trust and that you can abuse at times. I abused my mom so much. She gave me a head to toe massage every day. Without that, I would not have been able to fall asleep. And that's great. And my mom wanted to do that. You
Mm.
want to do things for your baby, you will sacrifice your own life for your baby. And that's what your mom feels about you. She's
Mm.
going to sacrifice herself for you. And so use that. Don't feel like you have to be in control of everything.
What great
3
advice.
years from now, you're not going to remember anything except the love and the support that you had around you.
Wow, such great advice. Did you feel that there were any surprises in your own postpartum journey? Maybe things that you did not expect, even with your medical background?
Yes, several things actually. Some things that nobody ever tells you that are not in any books. I really expected for my body to go back to pre-pregnancy, and it did not. It went back to 6 month pregnancy, and I was devastated. I'm like, no, 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 all the baby fat should be gone.
Right.
And it's not. It's not. So that along with not sleeping, as a physician, when we go through residency, we are used to being on call all the time and not sleeping, but it's usually every third night or every fourth night, and then you can sleep. When you deliver a baby, it's every night. So the sleep deprivation takes a toll on you physically and mentally. And I actually went to my OB, who happened to be a male, and I said, "This is ridiculous. I am feeling so unheard, so sad." He's like, "It's just sleep deprivation. Get over it. I'm not going to give you anything." So I
Wow.
actually had to change OBs at that point to be able to go on a little bit of Lexapro. I needed some of that to be able to maintain my own sanity at times. So there are so many things that people don't tell you about. Yeah, my body did not look the same. It still does not look the same, but I've come to terms with it. The mental toll that it takes, the sleep deprivation. I really thought I was going to have time to scrapbook. I had absolutely no time to scrapbook. And 20 years later, all the photos are still on my phone. I still have not scrapbooked them. And needing the people around you. I didn't know how much I really needed my mom. I'm glad she was there. She forced herself on me, and I really needed that. And that was great.
That's awesome. I want to highlight something that you said. One was just like channeling into your village, and two was how you advocated for yourself. I think oftentimes that as a new mom or postpartum or even pregnant, when you may not feel heard by, the people in your either team or around you,
Mhm.
you kind of feel like you have to take it. And so I feel like moms need to hear that when you say that your OB was not hearing you, that you changed OBs and you went to an OB who understood what you needed, and that was an antidepressant. And so I think we really need to highlight that because moms really sometimes are tired even to do that advocacy piece.
Right. And having somebody with you at all the appointments so that if you don't feel comfortable talking about it, or if you just don't remember what they're telling you, because that memory fog is a real thing as well, too. So having somebody with you at all the appointments so they can advocate for you or they can hear what's being said and then remind you what was being said later, that also helps as well too. But you definitely need to advocate for yourself or have somebody with you that will do that for you.
Absolutely. Do you think that being a mom has changed the way that you show up for your patients and their families?
So that's interesting because, especially in the pediatric world, before I had kids, I was a practicing pediatrician. And some of the complaints, some of the issues, some of the problems that moms had, I didn't fully understand. Yes, I knew them in a textbook form, but not as a mom form. So after becoming a mom, after having my babies, I understood where they were coming from
Mm.
and why sometimes it would feel as a textbook problem, not a real problem, but to a mom, it's a real problem.
Yes.
So it changed the way I practiced pediatrics and I was more accessible to my moms. So becoming a mom definitely helped that.
I love that you say that. It brings me back to a memory I had when I was a mom and I was complaining about my daughter's stool. And I was so hysterical. And I was texting a friend of mine who's a physician. And I was literally having an emotional breakdown over the stool. And my friend said, "It's just poop, Pindy. It's just poop." And
Right,
I remember breaking down, like, you don't understand. And so I hear you now saying that, like, you are looking at things from the lens of moms. Like, as a pediatrician, you're probably like, the poop's supposed to look like that. That's how the poop's looking like. But as a mom, you understand because you remember that level of anxiety where it's like you're obsessing over everything. And so
right.
now you know how to talk to a mom because, yes, it's poop, but to you, this literally is such a major problem. And how can I help you understand and calm some of your anxieties around this?
Right. I do provide a lot of reassurance
Hmm.
and hand holding because that's really what it is. If everybody around you tells you one thing and your pediatrician tells you something else, then you have to decide which one you're going to trust. And so just being able to give time, being able to give reassurance, and being able to explain why
Mm.
I'm saying this sometimes helps as well too.
Great, great. I want to pivot and talk about something a lot of parents don't realize, and that's that they need to choose a pediatrician before the baby arrives. And I'm saying this, and I didn't do this. And so I'm I'm sitting here saying, moms, and I'm only doing this because now I know I've been on the other side. And so I think it's important to talk to new moms and say, this is when you should ideally start searching for a pediatrician. Now, when I had my daughter, she ended up in the NICU. And so postpartum, she needed to be seen right away because her bilirubin was high. She was breathing fast. And so I hadn't thought about a pediatrician. Why no one told me? I don't know. And so afterwards, I am now searching for a pediatrician. And so had to find a pediatrician who could see her. It ended up somewhere, and that was a pediatrician that I just didn't connect with at all. But I had to see her in those first couple of days. And then later on, found a pediatrician that I had a connection with. And so I don't think mom should have that anxiety of now hustling to find a pediatrician. But tell me, like, when is the ideal timing for moms to start looking? Does it matter? Is it what happens if they wait too long?
Sure. So ideally, the beginning of the third trimester is the best time to find a pediatrician. And a good OB is going to remind you about that as well too. I believe they start telling you around week 28 to start looking for a pediatrician.
Mm,
And there are several reasons for that. There are a couple of things that happen prenatally that can affect the baby, and it's important for the pediatrician to know what is going on. There are some things that the pediatrician can advise you on having a healthier newborn during the prenatal period, several supplements or probiotics that might help.
mm,
And just getting that general sense of what the pediatrician and you, what the vibe is between you guys. There's so many medical things that happen in the first 2 weeks of life.
mm,
There's a lot that happens with jaundice. There's a lot that happens with the way the blood flows through the heart. There's a lot that happens just with general development that if you haven't found a pediatrician yet and you wait until after the baby's born, there are so many things that could be missed that you don't want to have missed. So you want to try to find somebody that you connect with earlier on so that when the baby's born and you're having all these frequent visits, sometimes twice a week, making sure that the baby is growing well, is developing well, you want to be able to find someone that you connect with early on. So doing that before you deliver is ideal.
Absolutely. And with that connection piece, postpartum is very overwhelming. And a lot of parents initially are faced with so many big decisions, decisions whether to vaccinate your baby, whether to accept the vitamin K shot, whether to get hepatitis vaccine. There is so much that's happening in the media right now. There's a lot of talk, there's a lot of distrust in the medical system. And so I just, one, want you to just break down why some of these things happen at birth. So why is vitamin K routinely offered to newborns? What happens if a mom declines it? And why vaccines may be offered at birth as well? And what happens if mom declines it? And specifically talking about that relationship in the postpartum with their pediatrician.
Correct. And that is another thing to talk about prenatally as well too with your pediatrician, what your concerns are, what the pediatrician feels comfortable with.
Mhm.
So the some of the things that happen in the hospital, if you have a hospital delivery, if you have a home birth, your doula or your midwife might do some of these things as well too. But one of the things is a hearing screen, to make sure that the baby can hear. Another one is a newborn screen.
Mm,
In every state, there's a different newborn screen, but in the state of Georgia, there are 28 different congenital diseases that a baby can be born with, many of which cause mental retardation, and many of those can be corrected immediately if we know about it. So
mm,
there will be some blood taken from the heel, which is the newborn screen. There is also a cardiac screen that is done just to make sure that the blood is flowing properly to the arms and the legs the way it should. And these are all very simple tests. There is an erythromycin eye ointment
mhm.
that is put in the baby's eyes. During a vaginal birth, there are junk in the vaginal canal that can go into the eyes and cause a conjunctivitis. So it's more of a prophylactic antibiotic at that point. If you have a birth by C-section, it's a sterile environment and you may not need the erythromycin eye ointment. So that's something you want to discuss beforehand and not have to think about at the moment when the nurse is asking you what you want to do or not do. Vitamin K helps with clotting, blood clotting. Without vitamin K, there can be hemorrhages at times, and vitamin K is not found in newborns.
Mm,
Vitamin K is made in the gut and it requires probiotics and food. So, adequate vitamin K is actually not made until about 6 weeks of life. So, in those first 6 weeks, the baby is so fragile and they're so tiny and everybody's so afraid to hold them. But you also want to make sure that there is no hemorrhaging, no brain bleeds that can happen because that's essentially a stroke. And
mm,
so giving vitamin K in the newborn period helps prevent hemorrhaging because it provides the clotting substance that the baby needs. So I do recommend vitamin K. And especially if you have any kind of procedure done, like a circumcision, you would want vitamin K so there's no excessive bleeding during the circumcision as well. Vaccines, the first vaccine is usually given in the newborn period, and that's hepatitis B.
mm,
The reason it's given so early is because it's the most effective at that point.
mm,
Delaying vitamin B vaccine by months or years, it's not as effective. It may reduce itself down to 59% effectiveness if you delay it. So giving it early on, it is effective at 99%. And so that's why it's recommended in the beginning. But again, remember, these are all recommendations,
mm.
and you should be able to have a good conversation with your pediatrician beforehand so that you can understand why it's given so early and why it's not. For myself, hepatitis B is a 3-dose series. For
Mhm.
myself, I was not a responder to hepatitis B because I didn't get hepatitis B until I was 21. I had to repeat the series twice before I became a responder. In the newborn period, you respond almost immediately. And so those are things that you need to discuss with your pediatrician if you have questions about it. And the best time to do that is prenatally and not at the moment of, because usually you're in the hospital for only 2 days and you've had a major procedure done, you're sleep deprived, you've got that pregnancy memory brain fog going on. So you want to discuss all these things when you have time.
Absolutely. I love just how you broke that down. I think oftentimes moms need to hear it from that perspective. How do you approach these conversations with compassion? I see that you're really I just love how you said that. Is this how the discussion goes with moms? You
Correct.
provide the evidence and the compassion. It's great. I love that. Well, I want to know if a mom declines these interventions or things in the hospital, how does that decision affect the care that they can provide by or finding a provider who may align with their values? How can you talk to moms who may be considering maybe not getting this or getting this? Can you sort of tell them how this could affect their relationship with their pediatrician?
Definitely. The relationship is built on trust,
Mm,
and the trust goes both ways. I need to know that what you're telling me is accurate and truthful based on what you want done, what's going on in the house. For example, one of the questions that we ask is there a gun in the house? It's not a political question I'm asking. I just want to know because the follow-up question to that is the gun locked and away out of the child's reach? I want to make sure the child is safe. So I need to know that the answers you're giving me to my questions are truthful, and then the answers I give you to your questions are truthful from my side as well too. I don't have a political agenda at all. My goal is to make sure that your child is healthy, is safe, and grows to be the best adult that they can be. And these are the conversations that you want to have. This is the kind of pediatrician you want to find. There are pediatricians out there who will align with your views politically, who will align with your views medically. But do you want somebody that's just a yes, yes
mm,
man to your questions? Or do you want somebody that you can actually have a discussion with to make sure that your child, your unique child, their own individual child, is going to grow up to be the best that they can be and not just a robot?
mm,
Everybody is not the same. Every human is different. You might have two children, one that is vaccinated and one is not. And there might be reasons behind that, but not everybody is the same. So you want to find somebody that you can have that conversation with so that they can view your child as a unique person.
right, great. Love it. So I want to pivot to talk about supporting moms through the fourth trimester. In your experience, what do postpartum moms need most from their pediatrician in those first few weeks?
So, pediatrician not only takes care of the child, but actually takes care of the mom herself. After you deliver, you typically don't see your OB until the 6 week follow up.
Mhm.
But during those 6 weeks, you're seeing your pediatrician probably twice a week. I see babies at least once a week. And during that time, I talk to the mom and make sure that the mom is healing, that the mom doesn't have any issues. There are lots of things that can happen postpartum where the mom has to go back to the hospital.
Mm,
And not only does that affect the baby, but it affects the mom as well too. So your pediatrician is probably your only medical contact during those first 6 weeks. And so there's lots of things that you can ask the pediatrician. The pediatrician should be able to may not take care of you specifically, but at least answer your questions enough to tell you that you need to go see a specialist or you need to go back to your OB, or this is something that should resolve on its own. A lot of women continue bleeding for those first 6 weeks. Is
mm,
the bleeding normal? Is it abnormal? If you had a C-section, if you had stitches, the stitches unraveling. Like I said, the pediatrician is your main medical point
mm,
at that during those first 6 weeks. So there's a lot of things that you can ask the pediatrician for yourself as well. And depending on the comfort level of the pediatrician, they may tell you, hey, you need to go see your OB, or this is something that should resolve on its own. So
mm.
finding somebody that you can trust not only for your child, but also for yourself will help you during that postpartum period.
Absolutely. Now, I know moms sometimes are just wrapped up either in their own lives or busy or sometimes heavy with postpartum depression. Have you ever found in your practice where you've had to reach out to the OB directly or try to get this mom the help that they need because you're afraid maybe they wouldn't follow up after you recommended a certain intervention?
Yes, yeah, I have had to do that several times. Several times a year, I have to do that.
Mm,
I reach out to the OB directly. I make sure that the mom has contacted them. I get the OB's name from the mom during the first visit so that we can have that conversation as needed because it's best not only for the mom, but for the baby. And at the end of the day, as a pediatrician, my patient is the baby, and I have to do everything to make sure that the baby is safe, that the people around the baby are going to be able to take care of the baby the way that the baby needs. So I have to take care of the moms.
Yeah, I think that's extremely important when you talk about moms building a village, having the pediatrician be a part of that village. And it's not just about the baby, but making sure that you also feel comfortable and safe talking to your pediatrician and telling them when there are concerns. And honestly, if you don't have the strength or the mental bandwidth to be able to seek out the help, having a pediatrician who can do that for you is very helpful, particularly before that 6 week appointment when you see your OBGYN.
Correct. Exactly. So part of that village is making it up before. So finding those people prenatally helps. If you find them postnatally, if you find them after you deliver your baby, that's okay. Just make sure that it's the people that you definitely want in your village.
Absolutely. What would you say to a mom who's listening right now who's feeling really unsure, isolated, or overwhelmed? They may be pregnant, maybe postpartum. How can you encourage them?
Reach out.
Mm,
That's all you need to do. Reach out. It doesn't matter who you reach out to, whether it's your best friend, whether it's the operator on the phone, reach out to somebody. We are a social animal. We need people around us. Everybody wants to help. Everybody will tell you, what can I do to help? But all you have to do is say, hey, I, you don't even have to say, I need help.
mm,
Just reaching out to somebody, asking about the weather is fine. We need that emotional connection. We need that social connection just to feel uplifted. We
mm.
have all been through it. We have. And while you're pregnant, you might hear some horror stories. People want to tell you their stories.
Yes.
People want to connect. So just reach out.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you. Well, we're nearing the end, but I don't want to stop this podcast without talking a little bit about your practice. Now, I know you practice integrative medicine and you really are about that joint decision making with your clients. Tell us how your day-to-day care looks like for your clients.
Sure. So, like I said, I've been practicing for over 25 years. I feel like I have had a great education, lots of experience. I actually pull from my own motherhood, some of the experiences, what my kids have gone through, and I read up on a regular basis. So I do have the evidence as well too. But over time, I have also integrated a lot of East and West medications. I do a lot of herbs, I do a lot of supplements. There are things that are safe for babies and kids. There are things that are not safe for babies and kids.
Mm.
And I want to help you make that decision for your child. My appointments are actually for an hour. That
Mm.
way we have the time to sit down and discuss. Many practices kind of rush you in and out. That's frustrating for the parent. It's frustrating for the pediatrician as well, too, let me tell you. So my practice is a solo practice, so I can spend time with you and give you the full hour. I also give you my cell phone number so you can contact me directly. You don't have to go through third party lines. And I keep it as a small, intimate family practice. I want to know you and your family. I will do home visits for newborns so I can see you in your space. You don't have to worry about taking your baby out. It's very much the old fashioned doctor concept.
Yes, and this is why your practice is so amazing. Home visits, guys. That's very important, especially in this day and age when you have a newborn or even just a baby and you don't want to take them to an urgent care where there's germs. And so, definitely a huge highlight to your practice.
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. It was great speaking, and I wish all of your moms the best.
Absolutely. Now, if someone is interested in you being their pediatrician or their child's pediatrician, how can they find you?
So I am on all social media platforms right now at Harmony Peds, Peds. The website is harmonypeds.com. You can call the office at 770-475-9924. You can find me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Harmony Peds.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Chheda, for joining the show. And I know that people are going to really enjoy this podcast episode.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Are you navigating pregnancy and postpartum alone? Are you feeling overwhelmed by the lack of support? You're not alone, and you don't have to do this alone. With EM Care to You, I offer personalized in home and telemedicine support designed to guide moms through the challenges of the postpartum period. Whether you need total on-call services, or periodic check-ins in the home. I help women recognize warning signs and I support you as your advocate, and I am here for you the entire step of the way. I want to create a postpartum plan that's all about you, your health, and your recovery. Follow me on Instagram at Dr. Choa for tips, resources, and there you'll find a way to book me. All right? DM me or email me if you have any other questions. Other than that, I'm on all social media platforms under Dr. Choa, DrChowa. Let's build a village of support. Let's give you the hope that you need to get through this period of time. Take care. It's been lovely talking with you all today. Take care.